Welcome to this week's edition of WorldView. I'm Darren.
And I'm Olivia. Our lead story this week comes from Ukraine. The Prime Minister has said that Russia's attempts to start conflict in Ukraine could lead to military engagements in Western Europe. He also claimed that Russia is trying to start World War III. Russia has yet to explain its presence on the Ukrainian border. They continue to state that they are there for training exercises.
On Friday, President Obama threatened Russia with new sanctions over its actions in Ukraine. In a phone call Friday, Obama and European leaders agreed that Russia has failed to do its part to reduce tensions. President Putin of Russia said, if the Kyiv regime has started to use the army against the population inside the country, it beyond any doubt is a very serious crime.
The civil war in Syria, which has been going on for more than 3 years, has caused major conflict between President Assad and rebel groups. Now, Mr. Assad has begun punishing communities where rebels live by bombing, cutting food supplies, denying basic freedoms, and medical help. These punishments are mostly affecting innocent men, women, and children. President Assad has also used chlorine gas attacks because they are not technically considered chemical weapons.
Syria has once again missed a deadline for exporting or destroying chemical weapons. So far, Syria has shipped out or destroyed 92.5% of their arsenal. Most of those chemicals remaining are the less dangerous ones. The most toxic chemicals were sent to be destroyed by Americans. If Syria finally completes the project, it will show that it aims to destroy all of the chemical weapons by the end of June.
In Russia, near radiation-filled soil, a one-of-a-kind engineering project is rising. Its purpose is to contain the remains of the world's worst civilian nuclear disaster at Chernobyl. The stainless steel arc will be placed over the contaminated soil and will be able to contain any radioactive dust.
A Chicago pediatrician felt called to move to Afghanistan to help treat children and train other pediatricians. He was also one of the 3 Americans who were killed in a hospital last week by terrorists. In recent weeks, the killing of American civilians in Afghanistan and Iraq has increasingly no one seems to have an explanation for the increase in attacks.
In Africa, hundreds of civilians in one South Sudan town have been massacred in one of the worst atrocities of the young country's civil war. Bodies of people of all ages were discovered piles and heaps in mosques, churches, and other buildings. They had fled to these places hoping that they would be safe. The fighting started in December after a political struggle between the country's president and a former vice president who belonged to different tribal groups. That individual struggle broadened into the ethnic civil war.
The father of an American teenager who stowed away in an airplane wheel well on a flight to Hawaii has said that his son is unhappy at school and was trying to return to his country of Somalia. The 16-year-old survived lack of oxygen and freezing temperatures on a 5-hour flight from California to Hawaii. He reportedly told investigators he had been in an argument at home, then went to the airport and chose the plane nearest to the fence. One expert said that the boy survived the lack of oxygen because he had been exposed to such cold temperatures.
New works by the famous American artist Andy Warhol were recently discovered. They are digital images trapped on a disk for 30 years. This computer art would not have been discovered if it weren't for artist Corey Archangel, who viewed a YouTube clip showing Warhol promoting the release of the Amiga 1000 computer in 1985. Archangel went to the Andy Warhol Museum and, with the help of the museum's archivist, discovered that images that had been packed away. This is an important discovery because it shows that Warhol was one of the earliest artists to experiment with using a computer to create art. Daniel has our sports news.
The Summit sport teams are all having a great season. The JV golf team beat Davidson Day School 193-180 on Monday. They are 3-2-1 this season. The varsity golf team has had an undefeated season so far with an 8-0 record. Boys tennis is holding on with a 4-4 record so far. They had a tough loss to Calvary Baptist 7-2. Baseball also had a tough loss 17-2 against Forsyth Country Day this past Monday. Girls soccer is having a positive season of 5-4. They beat Cornerstone Charter Academy 8-1 last Thursday. Girls lacrosse has had a close season with a record of 3-3-2. They defeated Forsyth Country Day 13-4 last Friday. The boys lacrosse is having a great season. They beat Forsyth Country Day School 10-7 and have a record of 10-3. Here's Matthew with the school service.
Everyone come out to support the RP Car Wash on May 3rd and May Frolics on May 9th.
Buenos días, amigos. Yo me llamo Raúl.
Y yo me llamo Pedro. Bienvenidos al programa El Tiempo Aguilas. Este es el tiempo para el fin de semana.
Viernes, la temperatura alta es de 21 grados centígrados y nublado. Sábado, la temperatura alta es de 20 grados centígrados con sol. Domingo, la temperatura alta es de 20 grados centígrados y parcialmente nublado.
Muy bien, entonces este fin de semana necesito llevar pantalones cortos, una camiseta, zapatos y calcetines. Es todo por ahora.
This weekend's weather is looking decent. On Saturday, we will have a high of 68 degrees and a low of 45 with partly cloudy skies. On Saturday, we will see a high of 77 degrees and a low of 46 with a chance of rain throughout the day. Our pick town for the week is Last Chance, Idaho. It will be partly cloudy in Last Chance this weekend. The high on Saturday will be 62, the low 38 degrees. On Sunday, the high will be 60 with a low of 36. They continue to have some chilly nights in Last Chance.
That wraps up WorldView for this week. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for watching this week. We hope you have a fun and